Hey, what is up everybody? Zach here. Welcome back to Case Digital. In this episode, we're going to talk about setting up my dev environment. That way I can help a lot of those that are using Windows machines. Because I realized that in my last episode, I talked about how I might be sharing a Python application that I use for my software fault tolerance class. And I realized that I probably should help you guys set up the environment first. That way that you can go ahead and be able to use, this example and what's going on. Or be able to see how it runs and whatnot. So in light of that, let's get right into it. So I am right here on a Windows machine. So I am on a Mac. I am using a virtual machine. I'll cover a little bit more about that and probably in another video of what a virtual machine is. But in case you're wondering, it's kind of like Inception of computers. Like I am literally running a computer within my Mac, which is kind of cool. So I'm using VirtualBox. If you want to look into that later, you can. I'll also do another video showing you what you can do with VirtualBox and setting up an OS within that as well. So, but in light of that, let's get right into it. So I started out just kind of thinking like, what is the development environment that I usually use on Windows? I think a lot of people that are just kind of looking to get into programming or probably have just a Windows machine. So I wanted to help them kind of learn how to do that on Windows. And then I'll talk about later on in future episodes about different OSs that you can use. If you're using a Mac, that's what I always use, and I'll show examples doing that often. But other than that, let's kind of get into it. So I made a list right here. So this is kind of my development environment that I have set up. The stuff that I kind of use professionally as well as things that I use just kind of on the side. So in Windows, I use Visual Studio Code, which is kind of the IDE, which is kind of like the platform that I use to write a lot of my code in. And then Visual Studio, depending on what language I'm writing, primarily C#, I'll do that. And then Python, I'm going to use 3.6. There is 3.7, but I think I'm going to install 3.6 because I like to do machine learning stuff. And currently 3.6 works best with a majority of the machine learning stuff out there. So that's the reason I'm going to do that. I also like to do Notepad++. Notepad's good, but I just personally like Notepad++. And then Git Bash. I personally don't like let me show you. The command prompt for Windows, I don't like running in it. It's kind of just different. I primarily run on Unix-based or Linux systems, and so I like to do stuff like ls, which is not in Windows, but for that, you have to do dir and whatnot. But anyways, we'll get more into that later. So I'm going to install Git Bash, which also helps installing Git and whatnot, so you have that on your system as well. So with that, let's kind of get into it, and I'm kind of just going to do this with you guys because this is a brand new virtual machine, and I don't have any of this stuff on it, and it's kind of on purpose because I wanted to walk through it with y'all. So we're going to go here. The first one that we're going to get is Visual Studio Code. Let's type in VS Code. You can do VS Code download. So Visual Studio Code editing. It's kind of cool. I am running a whole operating system within this. So download for Windows. So we're going to just hit that. Oh, there it goes. It's starting. I was like, where is it? Okay, yeah. So it's downloading. And then I guess on here, I'll just in another tab, I'll say Notepad++. Okay. Kind of get some of these up and going. My computer's running, the virtual machine is running a little slow. Probably has to do with the fact that I am also running it on a desktop hard drive, external hard drive, not on my computer because it helps free up memory. So that's probably why it's a little bit slow. And I'm using 64-bit, so we're just going to do that. So download that. So Visual Studio code is downloaded, so we're going to set this up. So when you set up Visual Studio Code, just going to go through here, accept the agreement, next, that works for me. I'm going to create a desktop icon because I use it, and we'll just do that. And let's install. Okay, that's installing. We're going to go over here to Python, python.org. All right, while that's looking, let's look at this really quick. So we got Visual Studio Code downloading. We're going to probably hold off on this. They'll probably make that another video for another time when we actually are going to need it and use it. We got Python 6 for starting. Git Bash is the other one we need. So we are going to go to downloads because remember I said I want to download 3.6. So we're going to go downloads, Windows, So this is saying 368. Python 368 can be used on Windows XP or earlier. So I'm using Windows 10, just so y'all know if you don't have that. So I'm just going to download this one right here. Installer, the executable installer. Everything's downloading. So Visual Studio looks like it's completed. So all these tools that I'm downloading also, just so you guys know, all these tools are things that I feel are helpful in what you need to, in helping you actually program and do the stuff that you need. Because as you start to program, I feel like a lot of the systems or a lot of the things that people use kind of are more of a, what's called Linux based. If you're not familiar with that, this is kind of another operating system, another kind of way things are, basically it's another operating system. And it has different commands for doing things on the command line and whatnot. But that's how what I find a lot of people actually develop in or do. I mean, there are different languages and different things that you try and do that you want to do both on Windows and Linux or whatnot. But for those that are just starting out, I'm hoping that this will give you a good environment to help you set up and kind of for all the overall languages that you're trying to do. So that's kind of why I'm doing these. And these are my personal. These are the ones that I like to use. So that's what I'm going to use. So what is this talking about? I'm not sure what that's talking about. So we're going to actually go over here. We're going to install. We're going to get, before I finish setting up stuff inside of Visual Studio Code, I want to get these other ones downloaded. Taking a minute. Yes, I wanted to install it. I think I may have just done that twice. We'll see. Cancel one of them. I did do it twice. Okay. This is kind of what the installer for Notepad++ looks like. So we're going to go hit that. And it'll say, yes, set it up. So let's go set it up. Say, yes, I agree. I'll install it to there. See what else they have here. I think I'm good with all that. I think I'm good like that. So I was just going to go there. Okay, so that's finished, and then you should see Notepad++ pop up right here. There it is. I really like this. It's really nice. I think it's a little bit better than Notepad, but that's just my opinion. Okay, Python 368. Let's get that installed. We're going to add it to the path. We want to make sure we add it to the path. I think, make sure. We're going to, yeah, we want to install this for all users. So I went to advanced. We want to install it for all users. Okay, yeah, that's all I want to do there. We're going to install that. And since we're installing for all users, it's going to ask for basically administration rights to be able to install. So make sure you have those and hit OK. Get that going. And so what the path is, for those of you that know, the path is basically kind of like I can run it. I can type a command in that's used to that's Python, and it'll allow me to run it anywhere. Like I don't have to give a specific link or specific thing to run a Python program. I can just say Python, name of the Python script, kind of like what we did in one of the previous videos with like the Hello World, where we just did Python Hello YouTube. Like that Python thing, that Python tag is what allows us to do, is part of the path. So it makes it so that I can be in any directory, any folder on the operating system, and be able to say, or run this in term, and it should be followed by like a file, and it'll run my application or script or whatnot. So that's what being part of the path is, and that's why it's really important that for this we want to make it part of our path. So just kind of a heads up there. And while this is finishing up, I'm going to go say git, bash Windows. So this will basically install Git for Windows, which is really nice. Download. Python's almost done. It's kind of cool because, I mean, with these, basically, I'll take this out. With these, basically, 4 things that's what I do as a professional software developer. That's what I use every day, like pretty much. And so I think they're wonderful tools. Obviously, as you get more experience and you're doing different things, that may require different tools. So just be aware of that. But as far as like core development tools, this is what I use every day, and I feel like it's very helpful, and I feel like I'm very successful with them. Obviously, different things do require different tools, and so just over time you'll gain more of a tool set of the things that you use for whether it's for a specific programming language or whether it's for a specific thing you're trying to do. But this is what I use, and it's awesome. So that's what we're installing, and Python is almost done. Taking a little bit. Okay, we got Git. I'm gonna get this going. So Git, yes, we're going to download that, or we're going to start the installation process for that. So this is the license. Hit next. That's fine. Put it there. Hit next. This is basically, you can add stuff. to like add icons to the desktop. I like these. Make sure, this is what I always do, is I make sure like when I do like the Windows file thing, I say I want it to be able to say get bash here or get GUI here. I use that a lot. So I feel like you're going to use that a lot. So just make sure you have that. Those are good for me. I think these are good settings. So we're going to go with that. We'll go with that's fine for now. That's fine. Open SSL. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We're just going to go with kind of the defaults. That's what I usually do, so let's go with that. So while this is kind of installing, once this is done, we'll get back together and we'll see what all these things do. So we'll see in a little bit. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So Git just finished installing. Well, Git actually kind of beat Python in this, but both Git and Python finished installing. So I'm going to go back here. We don't need to really see this right now, so I'm just going to click that and hit finish. I should finish that. Python says it was successful. I'm going to disable this path link because I don't feel like because there is a chance that you could have super long paths depending on what you put in. Very rare, but I'm just going to disable that. So, boom, there it is. So, I did forget one thing. So, just so you know, just a quick recap, and then I'll jump into that one thing. We went to Visual Studio Code, downloaded that for Windows, because that's what we're running on. If you're on a different operating system, you can download it for a different operating system, like Mac or Linux or whatnot. Notepad++. Unfortunately, Notepad++ is only on Windows. It's not on Mac. So if you're using on Mac, you'll just have to go with Notepad. I think that's let me double check. Yeah, or TextEdit. TextEdit, I really like TextEdit for Mac. Use TextEdit. Any other operating systems, I don't know if they have it. I think they may have it for other ones. Python, we installed Python on Windows. On Linux, any Linux machine, any Mac machine, they actually should have Python installed for you. One way you can check is by opening up a command line, like, so this is on my, so I'll go over, this is on my Mac. Took me out of and you can just go Python, like that, and you should see something like this. So, okay, now we're back. Okay, perfect. That's just how you do it, to double check both on Linux and Mac. On Windows, as far as I know, you need to install. That's what I've always had to do on the stuff I've worked with. And then I also went over and we searched Git Bash, which took us Git for Windows, and then we're able to download this. What this allows us to do is if I open up, and then the last thing we need to do to set up our development environment to be developing some software. What I like to do is basically from here, I like to go to this PC. Excuse me. So I'm in my users folder. So this PC, local disk, users, zcase, and I like to do is I like to create is a new folder. Oh, like I mentioned, you know how it says Git Bash here? Those are the things that we want to see. Like those are the things I was telling you about that we wanted to see, and I'll show you what those do in a minute. But I like to create a new folder, and I like to call this folder Workspace, because this will be all the places where I develop my applications and whatnot. And another thing I like to do is pin it to the quick access part. Let's see if that pinned. Pinned to quick access. There we go. So it's pinned to quick access, so I can always now, go straight to it. So that Git Bash thing I was telling you about, that basically, if I hit that, this brings up a terminal, which, in my opinion, is better than the Windows command line. I like to use this because this now allows me to do ls, which will show me everything. Granted, I don't have anything in the directory. If I go cd back, that means go back a directory, and I do ls, that'll show everything in the directory. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to go cd back into Workspace and ls. It should be nothing because there's nothing in there. So yeah, so that is basically it, to be honest. That is how we set up our development environment. And one thing is now in here, I do have to go back. So in Visual Studio Code, we did download that. I forgot about this. We need to go and install some extensions to Visual Studio Code. So one thing I like to do is do Python, and I make sure it's the Microsoft one because I feel like they have the best one. And so does that many downloads. So that I like to install. That's installing. I also like to do C++ and C# down here, and Docker. These ones we'll get into later, but it's just good to do this now. Spell check. I can't spell to save my life, so I always get a spell check one in here. I think this is it. Yep, this is it. Spell checker. It's kind of nice. So basically, help you with spelling, and recognize if things are spelled wrong. The only downside is sometimes it messes when you're talking about variable names. We'll get more into that a little bit later. It doesn't mess with, I should say. It actually just sometimes things are spelled incorrectly when you're meaning them to be that way. So we'll go back to the extensions. Oops. So that's just installing C# right now. Everything installed. Python looks like it's installed. It's installing C++. So one thing is just so y'all know is when you do it in a development environment, it's your own. I mean, everybody's different, right? Everybody has their own personalities. Everybody's their own person. It's the same with this development. When you're developing software, you need to be familiar with your tools. You need to be comfortable using them, and you find the stuff that works for you. This is the stuff that works for me, and I feel like this is the stuff that works for me, and this is what I've become used to. If you have any better, for those that are watching, if you have any better suggestions on tools or environment setup, let me know. I'm always willing to learn. I'm just sharing with you what I've found and what I use. But that doesn't mean that they're the best. They're just the things that I've been able to be successful at and using. And so I hope that you can be successful using them as well. Just know that there are tons of different tools and things out there that you can use for different languages. I know some people for like Python like to use a whole other IDE or programming environment like PyCharm or whatnot. I like that one. It's a great one. But I mean, just know that every programmer, every developer is their own person and has their unique style. And so these are just tools I feel can help you get off the ground and start and get going. So other than that, that's pretty much it. And if we wanted to, we could say open a folder. We can go to our workspace and we're going to create a new folder. And I'm kind of going to do the Hello YouTube one again, just so that we can show that. Hello YouTube. So we're going to open the Hello YouTube folder. And create a file. Hello YouTube.py. So now we know that it's a Python file. And if we'll get some other things installed here in a little bit. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go print, and then hello YouTube. I always just like to end everything with a new line. Save that. Save that. We'll get Pilot installed in a little bit. But now we can go to a terminal. Actually, let's do this and get Bash. That way we can kind of use all these tools together. So, like we had up before, if you don't have this up, and I'll close this, we can go back into our folder, Hello YouTube, and I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to hit get Bash here, ls. Make sure we're in. See that? I'm going to do Python hello YouTube.py. Aha! And we see it says hello YouTube. So there it is. Those are kind of all the tools that we use that I like to use. And hopefully that gets you going for your development environment. So yeah, hopefully that gets you going for your development environment. Until next time, we'll dive in deeper and we'll kind of start showing some of those applications I was talking about on Windows. So we'll see you next time.